Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to the M.A.D.E Project Live. I'm your man, DB, and that's my man.
Chief, what up, y'all?
What's going on, family, man? We about to get into it today, man. You know what the topic is, man. I hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys are strapped in, got your popcorn ready because, we talking about it. We talking about it. Absolutely. Yeah, we gonna talk about it. Yes, let's talk about sex. All the good things, all the bad things that may be. We're gonna talk about sex. But what we're gonna do, man, here at the Made Man Project, it's about not just entertainment, but about infotainment. We're about to teach, we're about to educate, we're about to have some real topics, some real discussion, some healthy conversation around sex. So I'm glad you guys are tuning in. Be sure to like and share this with everyone that you can because this is a conversation that involves both men and women alike. So we're going to have a healthy conversation around sex and its impact on men and their relationships. So let's get ready to rock out. Let's get ready to get this, man. Welcome to the Made Man.
So many men are being crushed. Societal demands to be tough. Yes, you are enough. Don't bluff. Okay. I can't relate to you, brother, cause you're a yes, you are a hey. I'm here, my brother. You know I love you. Yes, you are enough. I just wanna be a good man. I can't relate to you, brother, cause you're a good man. Yes, you are a good man.
What up, family? Welcome back. You know where you're at right now. You're inside the Made Man Project, your midweek cigars and tequila convo. I'm glad to have you guys here. We got some comments already. Somebody said it's a good topic. Whoa, you got my big dog on here. What's up? Hey, listen, fellas, whoever's paying attention, whoever's tuning in right now, if you don't allow StreamYard to see your comment, to see your name, we ain't going to be able to see who's making this comment. So do me a favor. If you make a comment, just drop your name next to it because we want to shout out everybody that's watching, everybody that's commenting. We appreciate your conversations. And yes, whoever said this is a good topic. It's a damn good topic. And it's time that we talk about it. It's time that we start having this dialogue around it, man, these conversations around it, man. And we talking about sex and its impact on men and their relationships. Let that sink in for a little bit. Sex. So the thing about it is, I do a lot of work with men around emotional mastery, around overcoming, overwhelming life experience, adapting, healing, and growing from overwhelming life experiences. I don't do a lot of talk about sex, a lot of teaching about sex. And, someone brought that to my attention. Now, we started the Made Men Live group. We got a lot going on in there. We still got some people that are, holding up the wall, not really being active and engaging. But the thing about it is, I get a lot of people hitting up in my inbox asking questions, which is great. It's cool. You don't feel like you're not at the point where you can open up and ask your questions in the open. I got it. As long as you're asking questions and you're trying to work with some things. So, a lot of questions I'm getting is regarding sex and how do we handle sex in our relationship? And that's critical. That's critical, man. So we're going to touch on that a little bit today, man. And it's a deep conversation. It's a deep conversation. And we hope we got some women tuning in. We hope because this is a conversation for men and women alike. So we're going to hit it hard and fast due to some time restraints. Two great men. What's up, family? Whoever said that, drop your names so we can know who's talking to us. What's up, people? It had to be somebody from the garage or know about us from the garage. But what's up, family? We're glad you guys are tuning in. So we're going to hit this hard and heavy right now. Saying, and I want to get into it, I don't want to waste a lot of time, but there's this quote that I love, man. And it says, a man's need to conquer women actually reveals a tremendous helplessness that has made suckers out of them for thousands of years. So when we think about that, a man's need to conquer women, we're going to dig into that. Basically, what does sex actually mean? How do you align with sex? What does sex mean to you in your life? Chief, hit me with the first question, brother. Because this is a question from a follower, a supporter, and I said I'm definitely going to ask it. So, what's the first question, brother?
The first question is, what is your view on sex, and how has it changed as you've matured?
So, that's a great question. I told him I'm not going to say his name, but Brother, that's a real great question because my view has changed so much over the years. See, when I was younger, man, sex to me was all about gratifying a physical need or validating my masculine insecurities. That's what it was about to me. So now that I've grown older, I actually had to change my relationship with sex. I actually had to break up with sex because everything I thought I knew about sex, it was corrupted, it was wrong, and it was wrapped in something deep and something unnatural. Like I had a bad view on sex, so man, I had to change that. I actually wrote a letter. I wrote a breakup letter with sex and said, "Yo, you don't serve me anymore. What I have known of you, I had to change." Oh, Big Step, what's going on, Big Chops? But
What up, big stuff?
I had to change my view. Actually, you're gonna be a little Steph. Keep on hitting that gym, brother. I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah,
But
keep doing your thing.
I had to change my view with sex, man, because I had a misinformed view of it, man. It wasn't healthy, it wasn't right. And sex to me, man, was all about just, hitting and quitting and sticking and moving about my pleasure, about my needs. And I was actually filling a hole. I was actually covering up things that happened to me. I was actually avoiding some things, dealing with some hurts. So I had to change my whole view on sex. And now I have a better understanding of what sex actually is. I have a better understanding of how important it is, and I'm not ruled by sex. I'm not dictated or controlled by just the end game of sex. You understand what I'm saying? It's just not about the nut, or it's just not about the climax, or it's just not about getting this chick because she got a fat ass, or no. I have a better understanding, a deeper understanding of how sex plays in my life, how important sex is, and now I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't give a damn when nobody tell you sex is very important in a relationship. Now get it. It's not the most important thing in the world, but listen to me. It's right up there next to breathing. You understand what I'm saying? Sex is right up there next to breathing. So I don't give a damn how you look at it, how you want to shape it up. Sex is important in a relationship, but healthy sex. Big Chief, what's your thoughts on it, bro?
Sex. Yeah, it's a very powerful thing. Back in the days,
Yeah.
sex was viewed, it was viewed differently. Like this man's need to conquer women. Actually, if the man that has ever conquered a woman, please, tune in and let us know about that. I don't believe women can be conquered. At the same time, sex was just a physical thing, and it wasn't about the woman in the beginning. It was just about you
Mm,
busting the nut and actually, having that conversation with your friends and stuff like that. If somebody asks you, about the sex, so it was real immature and real foolish. Now, fast forward to the mature me and how I view sex. Sex is such a powerful tool. It's very powerful. You exchange energies. You can
mm,
actually, come together and, bond over sex and stuff like that if used properly. So very important to me. And at the same time, even
bruh.
before I got married, I started realizing how sacred sex was. And it wasn't just a physical thing. And I was single for 10 years and I didn't have sex with a woman that I was wouldn't that I was not with in terms of
Mm,
we was dating and stuff. I didn't do the sex before the dating. I didn't do all of that. And then I met my wife and I had sex and it was on a different level.
mm,
And the
bruh.
connection was greater. And not only was the connection greater, but it made me crave sex even more just because of
Mm,
the deeper feeling and how powerful it was. So yeah, it was very important to me. And now, I would definitely tell my kids to, guard that aspect of your life and don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Don't try to get a masculinity out of having sex or try to impress nobody because you can have sex with her or whatever.
yeah.
Don't do none of that immature stuff and don't put yourself in that situation, but actually, connect with a person. And if you connect with a person and y'all can build on that connection, then definitely it's a powerful thing, and you could do a lot with it. So, but the connection is the key to sex nowadays
Yeah,
versus just sticking and moving. Like sticking
yeah,
and moving is okay, but you got to have a connection, and
yeah,
that part is what we like to call intimacy.
yeah. With real quick, bro, like compared to where you're at now, like did your parents or anybody like older than you as far like a father figure, your dad, uncle, did anybody ever have that talk with you that you can remember?
The only talk that I was ever given was that it was my dad telling me straight up, man, I ain't running no whole house. And outside of that, nobody never came. And he was like, if you doing something, you better be using a condom.
Yeah,
So that was the
yeah,
talk.
that was the talk. I'm
There
gonna
was
tell you my
never
talk.
no day that established, and
Yeah,
we sat down and had to talk about it.
let me tell you my talk. My mother said one thing is I'm not Margaret Butler, which is my grandmother, my dad's mom, and you're not Greg Butler. You better not bring no babies up in here. That was my sex talk. That and I know you like it. You can hear my mom say that. That was my sex talk. I'm not Margaret Butler. You're not Greg Butler, and you ain't bringing no babies up in here. That was it. Oh, another one. She called me a homemonger. My mother called me a homemonger. This was our deepest conversation around sex. And big quick backstory. And when I say this, I'm not glorifying, I'm not bragging, but this is where I was at the time. I was 15 years old, and I got caught getting some fellatio from a girl in the woods back behind the school. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And my mother, they called my mom up to the school, blah, you know what I mean? I had to go through all that process and things because then the girl was like, well, I didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? I'm in Duluth, Minnesota. It was a Caucasian girl. And so it was a big thing. Like I forced her, whatever the case may be. It all came out in the wash. At what I mean, it was consensual and everything like that. But my mom's big message to me was, just because she's offering, don't mean you have to take it. She said, "Do you know what a whoremonger is? You're a whoremonger." So I want you to think about. And the first time I heard that word was back in 1995. So fast forward to Black Panther 2018.
Yeah,
Killmonger. What was a Killmonger? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When I replaced the word kill with whore, that's what my mother was calling me.
Wow.
And that was deep. But yeah, that was my conversation.
Yeah.
What's the next question, brother?
The next question is, wow. My wife says she wants more intimacy, but she doesn't want more sex. What the fuck is the difference?
Now that's bro, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So I'm gonna break it down like this because I struggle with that at times too, right?
I struggle as well. I mean, tremendously, and I'm working on it.
Sex is the perfect way to avoid emotions. All right. See, it feels close and intimate, but sex allows a man who's struggling with his relationship with sex to separate his emotions from the physical act and just focus on the physical part of the sex. Now, the flip side of that coin is intimacy. Intimacy is about having a richer, deeper connection that just isn't based on physical needs or desires. See, it's about being more emotionally open and available. See, emotional intimacy, and hear me, emotional intimacy actually leads to better sex. And that's what Chief was talking about earlier about where he's at now and in the relationship and his understanding of sex now and how more deeper it is, how richer it is. See, emotional intimacy, and I want you to understand this, it's about being open with your partner about what you want. It's about being able to communicate, being able to trust that the other person isn't going to think you're crazy or strange because you say what you want and what you need and what you desire. That's the intimacy part. Now, if we want to get a little deeper and little, it's also about, the cuddling, the caressing, the talking, the conversations, the spending time with each other. Not just when it's time to get it in, or the only time you show affection is when you want to, get a man off. You understand what I'm saying? It's about enjoying each other on a mental level, on an emotional level that transcends just the physical. So now when you add that mental and that emotional, and then like my man was talking about that spiritual part of it, man, when you add those two together, then you put the physical with it, man, it's something that is, it's something that is amazing and awesome, man. What's your thoughts on it, bro?
Yeah, like I said, I struggle with that. Like, not that I don't do the cuddling, we don't have the conversations and stuff like that. I just don't do it all the time or as much as my wife would like me to do it. And I don't expect sex all the time either, but at the same time, you know, I do want to have sex.
Yeah, yeah,
And, you know, it doesn't always lead me to sex
yeah,
when I do it. So, like I said, I'm struggling with that great question. What's the difference? Because, like I said, I don't. No, not right now. So,
what's up, family? Whoever said that, what's up, brother? Bless to you
what's
too, my
up?
man.
So yeah, I struggle with it, but like I said, I only struggle with it because I'm in the program where I'm understanding me better and how to express myself. So now
Yeah,
I'm able to open up more to my wife and open up more to myself in terms of my own emotions and how I get through uh, the different circumstances and challenges that I'm going through.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't do it all the time, but I do it. And I have made strides because I'm constantly working on becoming better, you
yeah,
know. And I know the different notice the difference in the sex. Like
yeah, yeah,
like I a lot of people back in the day would be like, man, the sex was whack.
yeah.
But the sex wasn't whack. You just didn't have a connection.
The connection was
You
whack.
didn't have an emotional connection. You didn't
Yeah,
have any type of intimacy. And that's one thing that we don't know growing up because we're too busy trying to do stuff that grown folks do
yeah,
and don't understand the purpose of it. But now understanding the purpose of it, like you said, that intimacy makes it better and it also makes it better for the woman, especially if she craves intimacy more than sex.
yeah. And I think you bring up a good point too, man. It comes down to what the actual definition of intimacy means to each individual person.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like the definition of intimacy for me, for my wife, could be two different things. And, she may say that I'm not being intimate, and I may think that I'm being intimate, but it's just not by her standards. And, that's something we working on as well in terms of, you know, understanding each other. But I think a lot of times the definition of these terms cannot be one-sided,
Yeah, yeah,
and it has to be two-sided. It has to be both sides understood instead of just one side, and it's not a one shoe fits all,
absolutely,
because
bro.
I was never really a very talkative person.
Yeah,
Anybody that really know me, they don't know me as a very talkative person. I was a quiet person, more reserved. I
yeah,
opened up, I had friends, had conversations and stuff, but I definitely wasn't necessarily the life of the party.
mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, like,
What?
I didn't grow up
What
with,
point in time? Hold on. What point in time were you talking about you want the life for the part? Like, hold on, hold on,
yeah,
hold on now. Hold on. Don't forget who you talking to, bro. Like,
hey,
them Hunter boys when we was out there now. Like, but go ahead, bro. I feel what you're saying, though, man.
yeah, definitely. Like, what I'm saying is, like, for instance, saying baby, saying honey,
Yeah,
saying baby girl, all of these words, right,
yeah,
weren't words that I grew up using. Like,
yeah.
I didn't call any girl baby,
Mm-hmm.
so like nowadays in my old age, like, I don't necessarily feel like, I ain't gonna say that I don't feel like it, but it's just not a part of my natural behavior.
Yeah,
Not as if I say baby here, but don't say baby there. I never said it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My wife want me to use these pet terms or pet names or whatever nicknames, that's just not something that I did
Yeah.
or something that I do. Now me growing and evolving, I need to listen because she's giving me the keys
Yeah. Yeah.
to her. So, definitely, that's the two-way street that I'm saying. I can't be so stuck in how I am that I don't hear her out because she's a huge part of my life. And she's the only part of my sex.
Right.
So I can't necessarily cut my own self short.
Yeah. 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 I
So,
get you.
yeah.
I get you. That's it's critical, man, and you're right. It always comes down to how we define intimacy, man, and what that looks like, and having that conversation, man, being emotionally available, being accessible. That's two parts of made men: being accessible and being expressive. That's two sides. That's one side of the coin. Is are you accessible? And you flip the other side of the coin is are you expressive? You understand what I'm saying? So that's critical, man. What's the next question, brother?
The next one is, how often should a couple have sex?
Ooh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna just go ahead and get my answer out the way.
Go ahead, bro.
As often as possible. Hey,
Hey, I feel you.
I say as often as necessary for both parties to be happy and fulfilled within their sexual needs. So, so nobody feels like their needs aren't met or anything. You know,
yeah,
you don't want to get caught up and you feel as if you're meeting somebody else's needs and they're not meeting your needs.
yeah.
That's not a good place to be either.
It's not, and that's a touchy, tricky subject right there. The way I look at it, to me, if I'm gonna give an answer, if we're gonna put it in days, I'm gonna say at least 5 days a week. That's just me personally. If I'm gonna say how often should a couple have sex, to me, 5 days a week. I'm not gonna lie to you. Is that always possible though? It's not, because life gets in the way. We have different priorities. We have different things going on. But my whole thing is when it comes to sex, that's what I'm talking about, the intimacy part, about having the conversation, about understanding what each other's needs and wants are. It's about effectively communicating those needs and wants, because life is going to always get in the way. You're always going to have things that come up. You're always going to be fucking tired. You're always going to have things that comes up and wants to take away from your joy. Sex is a way of pleasure, is a way to find joy. When you're with someone that you truly love and you care about and you're connected to, that is an awesome and amazing thing. And there's no greater way, or that's a great way to express your feelings through the intimacy, through the physical act of sex. So yes, as other words you said, as often as possible. Yeah, but we have to understand that sex, man, you have to fight for that like you fight for everything else in your life. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be convenient. It is a necessity, though. I don't give a damn who you are or what you're saying. Sex is a necessity, man. Like I said before, it's not the most important thing in the world, but it's right up there next to breathing. So I think what's important is the two people sitting down and talking about what their sex life should look like. Identifying, actually having that written out, or clearly labeled and defined of what should our sexual life look like. And that's important. What do you want out of our sexual relationship? And you have to have that conversation, because then you might find out you're not equally yoked. Because I don't give a darn who you are, man. Sex ain't never saved a relationship, but there has been some time where sex messed up a relationship. You understand what I'm saying? Sex has broken up a relationship for lack thereof, or bad sex. I don't feel that you have to be unhappy in your sexual relationship. I'm never going to prescribe it. I'm never going to subscribe to that. That your needs and wants have to go without. They have to be denied. No, there's going to have to be compromise, and there's going to have to be difficult conversations. There's going to be openness. You're going to be accessible and expressive to talk about where you're at, what you want, what you need, what you desire, what you fantasize about. You have to have those conversations. Sex shouldn't be taboo. It shouldn't be a bad thing. It shouldn't be an argument when you start to talk to your significant other about sex. It shouldn't be like, yo, why are we fighting about something that's so amazing and so wonderful?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be an argument? Now, I'm not getting into the BS part of it, the manipulative and how people want to use sex as power. That goes back to our original questions of how do you view sex? What does sex mean to you? How has sex changed? Like, you have to look at yourself and how you view sex. Are you using sex as power and control? Are you using sex as a way to fill some voids inside of you? Like, that's what I used to use it for. That was a coping skill for me. Sex to me, man, was about running from, fighting these feelings of being inadequate, of insecurities, of being molested, of being physically abused, emotionally abused. That it wasn't drugs for me. It wasn't alcohol. It wasn't, any other. I won't, trying to be somebody that I was. For me, the way I dealt with the voids and the holes inside of me was sex. And that's why I had a bad relationship. And that's why I had to change my relationship with sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Relationship is far greater than sex. So, it's not going it shouldn't make your relationship, but it possibly can break your relationship.
Yeah,
And I ain't gonna say possibly. I'm gonna say it can break your
you can.
relationship.
Yeah,
It possibly can, and it can. But long story short, like, it's important. It's very important to understand the needs of each person, and at the same time, be open to the other person,
yeah, yeah.
and because you with that person, and that's what you can do for that person.
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
pretty much giving what they're asking for, and that
Yeah,
goes both ways. It's not a
yeah,
one-way street on that. So,
yeah. I
like,
think.
we
Yeah,
getting better in our marriage with the
yeah, yeah. And
communication and stuff.
it takes work.
Yeah,
It takes work. Like anything else in life, it takes work. That's what I want you to understand. To have a truly fulfilling and satisfying sexual relationship, a healthy sexual relationship, it takes work. It takes constant communication and constant effort. Because believe me, life can get in the way, man. You can sit back and be like, shit, I'm tired. I don't feel like it. I got this going, I got that going on. And that's detrimental. That's just detrimental to the relationship. It's detrimental to your health, to your happiness. So sex, we have to stop treating it like it's something wrong. We have to stop making people feel like because they want it, there's something wrong with them. No, we just have to look at the view on sex, how you view sex. Now, if that's unhealthy, then that can lead to some unhealthy situations. But you have to look at how you view sex. What is your morals and your values around sex? That's what you have to look at. What are your morals and values around sex? What does it mean to you? So I want you to understand something, man. Sex is very important, and we're gonna. This is just the tip of the iceberg right here. This is a little bit to wet the whistle. We're going to dig into this a lot more. Like we doing this every Wednesday. We doing this every Wednesday live.
real quick. Sex and success. Men who are successful is not it. Like, it ain't the only thing that they do, but they learn how to control their sexual appetite, because you got energy that's being transferred when you having sex. However, if you ain't getting enough sex or having enough sex as you would like, you can also use that energy and redirect that energy in ways or in areas that you want to be intentional with, and you'd be surprised how successful you become just by putting that energy there.
Yeah,
And you get you more successful, so you feeling more confident, and that begins to spill over in every other aspect of your life as well. And when I say success and confidence, I'm talking about just the belief in yourself that you can do all things or whatever you put your mind through, and it takes effort and energy and intention to do that. So, and sexual energy is very powerful energy. So,
Yeah.
you know.
That's important though too. You bring up something good about understanding what sex is and its power. Because think about how many times people threw shit away over sex because of the need for pleasure. Like we can get into that a lot deeper, but just think about how many times people threw their life away, whether they going raw, having babies with women they really had no connection with, didn't want to be with. Now their fucking life is hell for the baby mama, baby daddy drama. You know what I'm saying? I know people that risk scholarships, that threw away full rides to big universities behind sex. If we don't get control and have an understanding of what sex is to us and have a mastery over our sexual desires, it can lead us to a lifelong, painful experience. So it's important. Think about STDs and diseases that they don't got no cures for. All regarding around sex and majority of the time not using protect. How many times have you, like I used to call it, man, I used to say I used to throw my dick on the crap table a lot, man. I used to play craps, like going in raw, like having sex raw with random chicks. And like I was blessed that I never, you know what I'm saying, got stuck with anything. But like when you get to that point where you lose all reasoning and rationale because the pleasure takes over, because those desires, I didn't have a healthy view on sex. I didn't have a healthy relationship. So it's important to truly identify what sex is to you, what your morals and values are around sex. Be to have these open, these difficult conversations about what sex is to you, what you want from it. Like, so I'm gonna leave you with 2 tips because we're about to get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in, but yeah, I'm gonna leave you with 2 tips, man. Men, when it comes to sex, figure out what sex means to you. Is it a tool for avoidance? Like, what are you actually avoiding that needs to be addressed? Why do you actually seek sex? What does it mean to you? And that's what you have to answer. No one else can answer that for you but you. Think about that. Think about how you want that to look in your relationship. All right? And for women, because this show is for women too. It's not just for men, it's for women also. And the thing about it is for women, any woman out there watching, or any man that want to pass this on to their lady, find out what matters to him. Share what matters to you. Have the difficult conversations around your needs, wants, and desires. This will help to start to change the relationship with sex. So listen, man, I appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, this is the M.A.D.E Project, your midweek cigars and tequila convo. I'm your man, DB. That's my boy, Chief, man. We're going to be here with you every Wednesday. We're going to dig into the sex a little bit more, well, a lot more. We're going to dig into all facets of manhood and masculinity and the false sense of masculinity, and about being productive and about being, about maximizing your full potential. This is what we do here at the M.A.D.E Live Project, man, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Chief, you got anything you want to say?
Appreciate y'all tuning in. See you next Wednesday.
Yes, sir. See you next Wednesday. Listen, I appreciate the questions. Hit me up. If you got something you want to say, drop it in my inbox. You can hit Kevin up in his inbox. Drop it in the inbox. You don't have to be ashamed. You don't have to be embarrassed. There's no judgment here. We all in this thing together, man. This is what it's about. You don't have to suffer in silence and isolation and be riddled by guilt and shame because of what you're thinking or what you're feeling, because you're not the only one. You're not the only one. So speak on it. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can get through it, how we can work through it. You're not in this by yourself. All right? So listen, man, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, we here every Wednesday. Like, share, comment, pass this on. This is important. This is information that needs to get out here, because you never know who's struggling with something. You never know who's going through something. And just by you liking, sharing, and passing this on to someone, it's can truly help them throughout their day and along their way. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is the M.A.D.E Project.
So many men are being crushed. Societal demands to be tough. Yes, you are enough. Don't bluff. Okay. I can't relate to you, brother, cause you're a good man. Yes, you are a good man. Hey, I'm here, my brother. You know I love you. Yes, you are enough. I just wanna be a good man. I can't relate to you, brother, cause you're a good man. Yes, you are a good man.